Welcome back. On this episode of Proclaim, we're going to talk about what Zion might look like.
Proclaim the glory of the Lord.
So I'm stressing the word might because there's a lot about Zion that we just don't know, especially what daily life might look like. And that was actually one of the most asked questions that we received from the junior high campers is, what is Zion like? Are there going to be sports? Will there be school? Will it look kind of like our cities look today with roads and streets and cars and things of that nature? And we really don't know. There are people who have different testimonies and dreams and visions of what Zion are like, but sometimes they don't always fall into the same kind of, they don't always agree, we'll just say that. But the scriptures do give us valuable insights on a number of other things about Zion, and I want to look at 8 of those different facets of Zion and how it can hopefully create a vision of Zion and make us even more excited for it. So the first one comes from section 36, verse 10g, and it is, Jesus is King. It says that Jesus is our King, He is our lawmaker, and we will receive all of our instruction from Him. And I bring that up because it's kind of interesting to think about our way of life today. We have government at every level. We vote for president, we vote for governor, we vote for mayors and other things. We have congressmen and women. But will any of that exist in Zion? I don't think so. When I read that verse, we will have one King, Jesus Christ, who is holy and pure and just. We won't have this hatred that seems to exist in our culture today, or this polarization of different views and beliefs. We'll be able to go to this source of all truth and discover God's will. And what a wonderful image that is. So Jesus will be our King. Number 2 is a land, a place, and a city. So in section 38, verse 4, God talks about how He has made a covenant with us to give us this land for our inheritance, to give us Zion, and that it's going to be a land filled with blessings, filled with milk and honey. And the way I read that is it's going to have much abundance. It will bear forth fruit. That doesn't mean that it's going to be totally easy, but it states very clearly that the curse of the ground will be removed. And so you think about the curse that God put on the ground in the days of Adam, that it would have thorns and thistles, and that by the sweat of his brow he would make his living. And yet here He's saying that curse is going to be removed. And that to me, again, is such a wonderful promise. The third one is peace. And Isaiah speaks a lot about this, that in this holy mountain, this place of Zion, there will be no hurt, no destroying, there won't be any war anymore. And think about what that could be like. We won't have military, wouldn't have police, won't have theft and stealing and violence and all these things that plague our society today. And what a wonderful idea, what a wonderful truth that this is. And the thing that makes this so great when we talk about the peace of the Lord is that this is not like anything that we've ever seen before. Because this isn't based on tyranny or someone trying to strong arm someone into making them do what they want, but rather this is free agency, this is free will. It's the desire of the people to live this way, not because they've been forced to, but because they want to. And we will live in peace. Number 4 is labor. We find this from Isaiah 65, and it talks about everyone will build and they'll inhabit their own place. They'll have a garden, they'll plant, and they'll reap it for themselves. But it also talks about building up the waste places of Zion. And you look around Independence today, and it's pretty easy to see there's a lot of waste places going on. There's a lot of empty buildings or businesses that have closed down. There's a lot of filthiness all over. You have certain establishments that I would imagine will not be here in Zion. You have trash and garbage and all sorts of things that you can find on the streets. There's a lot of waste places. And think about that just being clean, being pure, being kept. because of the labor that everyone is taking part in, because of the stewardship that we take seriously, that God has given us this dominion, this inheritance, and He wants us to take care of it. Think about waste places as not just physical things, but also spiritual and emotional. I mean, look at the state of the church, its contention and its pride, its division and separation over some important things, the way that we have isolated ourselves from one another. That has also become a waste place, and that too will be made whole. Number 5 is the gathering, and this one is really cool. Again, Isaiah and the Doctrine and Covenants talk about this quite a bit, as well as the Book of Mormon. Part of the reason for this restored gospel is to gather the Lamanites, because God had made a covenant with them that they too would be part of Zion, as well as some of the lost tribes of Israel. So this means that, and not just those, but you're going to have people from all over the world coming to this one place. They're going to have different backgrounds, different beliefs, different cultures, different languages, and we will all get to be together with Christ as our head. Think about the way that we will learn from each other and how exciting that is, that God is giving this kingdom free for all. Everyone has equal claim on this kingdom. All it takes is that faith, making a covenant with Jesus Christ and following Him. Number 6 is all things common. And notice that I said all things common and not all things in common. There is a big difference, and we'll probably talk about that on another episode. But when we talk about all things common, there's a lot of different definitions, but the way that I see that is that we all have common things, meaning we don't have more or even less, I guess, than what we need. You're not going to have a one person kind of family living in a mansion when you have a family of 10 living in this tiny little house. We will all have common things. We'll have what we need. And what a beautiful concept that is. If you read through the Book of Mormon, every time they fall into sin, it talks about pride and costliness of apparel and the way that they puff themselves up above others. There will not be that. There will be humility and meekness and charity. It will be permeated in everyone, in everything that we do. The 7th one is what I call age of a tree, and we find that also in Isaiah, where it mentions that the children will not die, that people won't die early. They will reach a full age of a tree or a man, and some people take that differently. Sometimes it means 100 years, sometimes it means 72 years, but in general, it's just saying that we will all live our life to the fullest. And so what will things look like? Will we have hospitals, and will we have disease? Will we have cancer? Will we have illness? Will we have viruses? Or will we all be able to be whole, to be healthy, and to be healed if there is a need? The very last one, the 8th one, is dwell in righteousness. And we get this from Genesis 7:23, as well as in Isaiah chapter 51, where it talks about sadness and sorrow and mourning will flee away, and instead there will be joy. And you think about what's going on today with all the depression, the anxiety, the loneliness, the isolation, the mental crisis, mental health crisis that we face today, the struggles that people go through all the time. There will not be any of that. We will dwell with God. We will be filled with joy, with happiness, with purpose, with fulfillment. And we'll never be alone. I know I've shared a lot with you, and I haven't gone real in depth in all these different topics, but hopefully these things give you some understanding of what Zion might be like. And I hope that as you hear these things and you think, wow, that's amazing. I don't know how that could be possible. Well, it isn't possible on our own, but with Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, it is possible and it will be. And so I hope that this has helped you and your vision of Zion grow a little bit more, that maybe you have fallen in love with Zion in a greater way, and that you, I pray and hope, feel convicted or inspired to go before the Lord and ask, what can I do for Zion?
proclaim the glory of the Lord. Let